Well, good afternoon, Joe. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's great to join me here in Costa del Northern Ireland, as the weather is. You can't tell by the
Absolutely, it's
video, but
beautiful.
we both know that this is unusually sunny weather for Northern Ireland at this time of the.
Absolutely.
Well, look, thanks very much for taking part, Joe. Could you start by telling me a little about yourself and your business, please?
Yes, of course. So I am Jo Davison, and I am a director in Belfast Artisan Distillery and Belfast Artisan Gin School. So Belfast Artisan Distillery is a small batch local distillery set up in 2018, so going for a few years now. And we produce four products. So we produce Belfast Artisan Distillery Gin, Belfast Artisan Distillery Vodka, and we make two gin liqueurs. So we have a lovely, you can see them behind me here, raspberry and elderflower gin liqueur and a pineapple and blood orange gin liqueur, which are exceptionally nice in weather like this, actually. Yeah, it's good weather for them. So the distillery was set up in 2018, and the kind of concept behind Belfast Artisan Distillery brand was sort of a Belfast-based spirits company that kind of gave a nod back to the artisans that made Belfast what it is today. So it's very industrial feel here in the distillery. The bottle's a very industrial bottle. We make what we call a London dry gin with a Belfast twist. So we use locally inspired botanicals in there. So we use 3 botanicals that are inspired sort of by Belfast and its surrounding areas. We use rowan, which gives our gin a little bit of sweet heat. We use pink heather, which gives a light floral top note, and we use flaxseed, and flax is tribute to the linen industry of Belfast. So it releases oils into the gin, makes the gin really smooth. So the gin is our kind of like, it's our premium product. It's our baby. It was our first product. So we love it. And it's in the navy blue bottle behind me. Then we made the vodka, and then we made the 2 gin liqueurs. And then, as if we didn't have enough to do, we thought we'd open a gin school. So we have Belfast Artisan Gin School, which is a visitor experience where you come along and you make your very own bottle of gin.
Fantastic. And how did you, what's your story, Joe? How did you end up having bottles of gin and liqueurs and vodka behind you?
I think I was I was always destined for this position, I think, from the start. But no, my background is actually in leisure. So I always say to people that I made kind of the shift from gym to gin. And I do have to say that the gin is much more enjoyable. No, that's not true. I did love my career. So from I was 19 up until my kind of into my 40s, I worked in leisure. And I started in leisure teaching group exercise. So I worked my way through lots of positions, managed the health and fitness part. I worked for private, I worked for public, kind of did lots of in-house training, did lots of courses, and I worked my way up, basically sort of hard work, hard graft, worked my way up to a management position. And then I was working for Belfast City Council. I was working in Olympia Leisure Centre in Boucher Road. During that time, I had met my partner, and he was the one who had set up, along with a couple of other guys, had set up Belfast Artisan Distillery. So it kind of just happened organically. As the business got busy, I started to help out. I helped out part-time, and then I moved in. I gave up my own kind of job to move in to do this full-time. And then I take more to do with Belfast Artisan Gin School. So I would be direct manager of the gin school, the experience part, which is exciting. I'll tell you a bit about that later, but we're going to be doing experiences here as well, because we've just got a producer's license to move things up here. So it kind of I just kind of ended up here. It just happened. As I say, I'd worked kind of for people. I'd always had a little inkling to want to work for myself. At one stage I wanted to be a wedding planner. I love events. I love chatting to people. So this fits in. It actually fits in pretty well, and I love it. It's great.
And so tell me, who would be your ideal customer? Who's the sort of ideal customer for you?
So anyone who is looking for local produce, so a locally produced spirit with great quality, and likes a wee bit of a local story as well. Obviously, anybody who likes gin. We don't mind if they don't really want our story and they just want to drink our gin. We're happy with that. But with gin, vodka, so anybody who loves their spirits, or anybody who's looking for a premium experience to bring their family, or, to spend a day out doing something different.
And tell me, what would you say has been your biggest learning since making the shift to being a business owner?
I think that you undoubtedly need to be adaptable every single day in life. It's probably my biggest learning, that things rarely go the way you have them kind of planned out in your head when you're running your own business, because there's just so many things change. Obviously the pandemic was a huge learning curve for us all, and we had to learn all sorts of ways to do our business that we would never have thought that we would have had to know. But just on a day-to-day basis, I'm now very much, this is what I hope to happen as the day goes on, but it may not go like that. And to not kind of be obsessive or worry if you don't get one thing done one day, just as long as everything kind of see the big picture and see the end goal rather than focus on all the little things. That would be my sort of biggest learning, because I used to be a bit of a panicker and now I'm a wee bit more go with the flow.
Brilliant. Great advice. Tell me, who's the first person that comes to mind when you think about the word success?
I always struggle with this question, and I'll tell you why. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I have genuinely came across so many people in my life. I've had great mentors throughout my life. You have the classics. I'm a Richard Branson fan. I love Richard Branson. I read all his stuff on LinkedIn. He has great advice, but I get to network with a lot of local people who I just look at them and I think, wow, I love people who are self-made, who've put the graft in. So I find inspiration, and I look at anybody I see them as successful if they're doing something that they're enjoying doing, and they're getting to enjoy a wee bit of their own life at the same time, and they're not taken over completely by work. So I see loads of people and I'm really lucky.
Excellent. And tell me, what's the biggest challenge that you've faced in your business?
Definitely pandemic for us. We had, the distillery was running, we were producing gin, we were producing vodka, when the pandemic hit. We had just planned on opening Belfast Artisan Gin School, so we had everything ready to go there. And at that stage I had made the jump from my full-time employment, so I was ready to kind of be employed in my own company, so to speak. And then we were put into lockdown and nobody really knew what they were doing. So that was the biggest challenge, to decide what we could push through, what we could do during lockdown, what we kind of needed to pull back on. And luckily we were able to, as I say, we released the raspberry and elderflower gin liqueur and the pineapple and blood orange gin liqueur during lockdowns. And Gin School was just put on hold. It was lucky in a way that we hadn't really kicked it off. So we were able just to put our plans back for that time, and then we released that. But that was huge, as for everyone. And I'm so glad that we're seeing the back of it now. Absolutely.
Yeah, me both.
Yeah.
Tell me, what inspires you? What gives you inspiration today?
Well, most of my inspiration, I have 2 children. And my partner has 2 children, and I would love to I work so that they will have a little bit of a legacy. They can hopefully see me working hard, and they know that you have to work hard to get anywhere in life. So I love that kind of ethos, work hard to get something out of life. I would love to leave the business to them and then possibly take it on, but they might not wish for that, and that's absolutely okay. But I'm inspired by my children. I'm inspired by doing things that make your life easier, that you work hard, money makes the world go round, doesn't it? And if you're successful, then you can have nice things, go on nice holidays, and that's what it comes down to, really, isn't it?
And if it were possible, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Ask questions. I think when I was younger, I was in a business setting, I was always afraid that I should know everything, and asking a question might make you look a little bit silly or inadequate, or kind of ill prepared. But I think there is no harm whatsoever in asking questions, as long as you're prepared to learn from the answers. So definitely ask questions, find out as much about the industry or about the business that you're in, and take advice from other people who have been there, done that. Don't think that you have to know everything.
And it's heading towards halfway through 2023. So if you look towards the summer and indeed the remainder of the year, what's new or upcoming aspect of your business you're most excited about?
Well, we have just last month got our producer's license at the distillery. So that means that we can invite people up for tours of the distillery and to sample our products. So that'll be the next stage for us. And we're hitting it at a great time. So over the summer, you'll be able to come up, have a look around the distillery, see where we make our spirits, see where they're bottled, where they're hand labeled, and then come up. We've got a lovely tasting lounge here. Come up and enjoy a wee gin and tonic or a vodka and lemonade or ginger, perhaps, whatever you fancy. And yeah, so we'll be able to welcome people to the distillery for a look around. So that's our next phase, and that's really exciting.
Excellent. That sounds superb, especially in the warm weather. But indeed,
absolutely,
anytime really. Well, Jo, if somebody wants to reach out and is interested in the story or the product or the experience, what's the best way for them to go about that?
So you can contact me. My email address is Jo, so just Jo at belfastartisandistillery.com, or you will get me on any of our socials. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, myself, Jo Davison, my own, or Belfast Artisan Gin School or Belfast Artisan Distillery. They all come through to me. I'm at the end of all of the channels. So no, I'd love to hear from anybody, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, Jo Davison of Belfast Artisan Distillery and Belfast Artisan Gin School, thank you very much for sharing your story and indeed your time today. It's been a pleasure to listen to you. Thank you very much indeed, and I wish you all the success for the remainder of 2023 and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you.